What's up? It's your girl FrumpyFit. If you don't know who I am, I'm an online weight loss coach who's dedicated to calling out all the BS in the fitness industry and providing you with accurate fitness, nutrition, and weight loss information. Today we are talking about why low-calorie diets do not work. And I actually posted something about this on TikTok a while back, and people were super confused and super upset that I would say that, considering I talk about a calorie deficit so often. So we're gonna get into like what the difference is between a low calorie diet and a calorie deficit and why low calorie diets can be so problematic. But before we do that, this video is sponsored by Built Bar, which is my favorite protein bar of all time. You guys already know this is one of my top favorite flavors, salted caramel, which has 17 grams of protein and only 130 calories, which is like an insane ratio in my opinion. And every time I talk about Built, I always show like the same flavors usually because they're my favorite. But I was thinking, like, if they're my favorite, why do I always have them? And it's because I hoard things that I love. Like, I just want to save it for like the perfect moment. Like, you ever have something like in your house and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna enjoy that so much, I just wanna save it for later? Am I the only one? I don't know, my partner is the complete opposite. If something is his favorite, he eats it first. So let me know if you guys can relate to either one of those in the comments. But seriously guys, these taste like a candy bar, even though they are a protein bar. It is because of the taste, but it's also because of the texture. It's just like so gooey and ooey and like all the best words that end with ooey. So if you want to try a Built Bar, you can use the link in the description, and you can also use this discount code, and that will get you 15% off. Thank you so much, Built, for sponsoring this video. For the purposes of this video, we're going to define a low-calorie diet as eating below your BMR. Now, if you don't know what your BMR is, it is how many calories your body requires just to survive, not adding any other movement on top, or even digesting your food. The way you can think about your BMR is like how much energy your body needs just to exist in a coma and survive. So eating below that number can be kind of stressful for your body, which is why I don't ever recommend doing that if you can avoid it. Which is why I consider a low-calorie diet as eating below that number. Your body is probably gonna be like, okay, this is not enough food. If you are trying to lose weight, my recommendation is to never drop below that number. If you wanna figure out what your BMR is, you can go to my How to Calculate Your Calories video, I'll link it up here, and that will take you step by step through how you can go ahead and calculate that for you specifically. All right, so what is the difference between a calorie deficit and a low calorie diet? Like we mentioned, a low calorie diet is eating a significantly low amount of calories. It's gonna be less calories than your body even needs just to survive in a coma. And while a low calorie diet is technically a calorie deficit, it's different than the way that I want you to think about a calorie deficit. And I also have a video called What is a Calorie Deficit and How to Get in One. So if you're confused about that, you can go ahead and watch that video. But essentially a calorie deficit is consuming less calories than you burn each day. So there's two different sides of the equation. There's how much energy you burn and how much energy you consume. In order to be in a calorie deficit, you can either increase how much activity you're doing every day or decrease the amount of calories you're consuming through food and drink each day. So when I say calorie deficit, and what I want you to think of when you think of a calorie deficit is, yes, eating fewer calories than you burn each day, but for the purpose of weight loss, we want to try to eat as many calories as possible within a calorie deficit and still get to lose weight. So like when I bring on a new client and I'm giving them their calorie goals for the first time, I'm picking the highest possible number that I think will get them weight loss results, but still put them in a calorie deficit. So if you're still confused about a calorie deficit, definitely go watch that video that I mentioned. But now we're gonna jump into why low calorie diets can be so problematic. The first reason is that they are not sustainable and they're hard to stick to. If you're eating below your BMR, you're likely gonna be really hungry, you're gonna be feeling restricted, you're probably gonna be exhausted. It's just not like an enjoyable experience at all. And yeah, the less calories you eat, the faster you're gonna lose weight. But if you can't actually stick to that, like if you end up in like a binge restrict cycle, or you just give up some days and eat way above your calorie goal, then even though like most days maybe you are in that significant calorie deficit, the other moments where you overeat because you're feeling so restricted are just gonna cancel it out, and then you're not gonna be getting the perceived benefits of that low calorie diet anyway. So it's better to just go on the conservative side with your calories, eat as many as possible, because then you get to enjoy every day a little bit more. And you're not like taxing your relationship with food, you're not making your body stressed out as much. It's just better to eat more if you can. And maybe you calculated your calories somewhere else or from my video and you're like, but the calculations take me below my BMR, like what am I supposed to do? And this might happen if you are petite, if you're short, if you don't have a lot of weight to lose. And so remember, a calorie deficit is eating fewer calories than you burn. So another way that you can actually elicit a calorie deficit is by increasing your activity instead of decreasing your calories. So if you're finding that when you're coming up with your calorie goals, it's taking you below your BMR, your very first thing that you should do is increase your activity. That's gonna be the safest option for you. Okay, the next reason that low calorie diets are just not good is because you're increasing the likelihood that you're gonna lose lean muscle mass while you're losing weight. Losing lean muscle mass is kind of inevitable when you're losing weight, but the faster you go, the bigger the deficit that you're in, the fewer calories you eat, the more likely it is that this is gonna happen. And the reason we wanna avoid this is, number one, having lean muscle mass is gonna keep your metabolism healthy long term. Muscle is more metabolically active than fat, and so the more lean tissue you have, the better your metabolism will be. Another reason that not everyone might relate to, but if you're looking for that toned appearance, that requires muscle. And so if in the process of losing weight, you're losing lean mass, you're not gonna achieve that desired look that you are going for. Eating enough protein is also gonna be super important to maintain lean muscle mass while you're losing weight. And when you're eating so few calories, it's gonna be even harder to eat enough protein. And that kind of brings me to the next reason that low calorie diets are so problematic, is that when you're eating a low amount of calories, you're less likely to get all the nutrients that you need for that day. Lower calories usually means a smaller volume of food or less variety of food. And when you do that, there's gonna be no way that you can get all the vitamins and minerals and like fiber you need for the day. So that's also why it's important to not eat too few calories. And the last reason that I have for you that low calorie diets are just something you should not consider at all is that you might experience metabolic adaptation. And I get tons of questions about damaging your metabolism, metabolic adaptation, starvation mode, all these things. Like what happens when you eat so few calories and then you aren't experiencing weight loss? So what's happening? It's not starvation mode. If you were in a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight, period. But what happens is when you eat so few calories, your metabolism is gonna be like, look, we gotta save some energy because we can't keep losing weight at this rate. We can't survive off of this few calories. So we're gonna sacrifice some movement. We're gonna be super low energy so that they're not expending unnecessary amounts of energy. Like we're just gonna decrease the amount of calories that we burn every day so that this is no longer as big of a problem. And this is super common. And the issue with this is that a lot of people will just keep taking their calories lower and lower in the hopes that they'll start losing weight, but then you're just digging yourself into an even deeper hole. So your only option in order to be able to get to your weight loss goal eventually is to focus on increasing your calories up to your maintenance, or how many calories you burn throughout the day. So that's your BMR, but also other things like movement, digestion, exercise. All of those things contribute to how many calories you burn each day. And so you want to get to a point where you're burning the right amount of calories. Because if your metabolism has adapted, like I mentioned, your body's going to be conserving energy in as many ways as possible, which leaves you nowhere to go. Like you can't create a calorie deficit out of a slowed down metabolism. When you lose weight, you want to start at a super high amount of calories, as high as you can possibly go, and then decrease slowly so you have lots of room to continue losing weight. But the good news is that if you are experiencing metabolic adaptation because you have been eating too few calories, your metabolism can adapt in the opposite direction where it improves. So your body will stop being in like, I'm conserving energy mode, and will increase the number of calories you burn naturally. The strategy most people use to accomplish this is something called reverse dieting, where you slowly increase your calories if you're a calorie tracker, and you keep doing that until you get to your maintenance. And the goal is basically that your weight is going to remain stable, not increase when you are at your maintenance calories. Because what happens is what your maintenance calories should be is actually going to be a calorie surplus because your metabolism is slower than it's supposed to be. And sometimes this process does involve gaining some weight, but I'm telling you, it's the only option if you are experiencing a slower metabolism because of metabolic adaptation from eating too few calories. Another option is just increasing your calories right away, all the way up to what they should be at maintenance. You don't have to go the slow and gradual route of increasing calories slowly. And if you are not into the whole calorie thing, tracking calories, then I highly recommend working with a registered dietitian who can help you with food choices and other strategies that you can use in order to accomplish the same goal. So in conclusion, there is basically nothing good about a low calorie diet. Nothing. No pros, only cons. Please don't do them. Please eat enough food. Please eat enough calories. That is the best strategy for weight loss, I promise. So I hope you understand now the difference between a calorie deficit and a low calorie diet. As usual, guys, thank you so much for watching and supporting my channel. It means the world to me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe here. You can also follow me on TikTok and on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video.